It's the Cool Kids Club. You've been invited to the Cool Kids Club. It's so exciting, yeah. Justin likes monsters, yeah. And Amy likes words in the Cool Kids Club. Cool Kids Club.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Cool Kids Club podcast. I am one of your hosts, Justin.
I am your second host, Amy.
No, I guess you're not second. That makes it seem like you're less than.
That's true.
We're co-hosts.
Equal or greater than.
Right. Well, on my other podcast, we do have a junior co-host who has been with us most of the time, but we like to keep him, in check.
Who's your junior co-host?
Oh, it's David.
Oh, yeah. He's just a junior.
Right.
He's like Mallory and Jesse in the Babysitters Club. Like, he's not a full-fledged babysitter yet, because...
Well, and you kind of keep holding it over his head. One day he's going to get the title of executive co-host that the rest of us have.
But not yet.
But it's never going to happen.
No. Well, he's got to have something to work for, or he's just going to get complacent.
Right. Right.
But yeah, we're the only two hosts of the show, so...
yes, I'm glad we've established that.
Yeah, hey guys, it's us again.
You know us.
It's America's favorite siblings, Justin
Trademark
and Amy.
pending.
Trademark pending of the Cool Kids Club. What's up? What up?
What up?
What up?
It is not just Cool Kids Club today. It is the Cool Kids Movie Club.
Oh my God, it is. We're back with another movie club.
The movie club is back. So some of
our... To be honest, Justin, it feels like we just did a movie club. It actually feels like we just did the first episode of the year.
These episodes have been going by pretty fast, honestly.
This year? Year, I don't know if everybody else is feeling this way. I cannot fathom that it is already June.
It's kind of nuts.
And we have been, every time we sit down to record an episode, we look back and we're like, wait, did we just did that one? Like, I'm starting to forget what our last ones were. They're going by so fast. Like, I feel like Batman the Animated Series was a month ago and it was the beginning of February. So, I don't know, man. But it has been a while since we've done a movie club. So, we are back with a movie club today.
Yeah, so in the past, what are some of the movie club? Well, who have we inducted into the movie club at this point? Because we've had it for a year. So our first year of nominees to the movie club, we had Aladdin, right?
We had Aladdin. We had Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yep.
We've had the Santa Claus. That was our Christmas one.
For sure, yeah.
And then we just had Pee-wee. Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure,
That was our first one of 2022.
So I thought, we really needed... I mean, it's June now, as you were saying. The year is half over, pretty much.
Yeah, I know.
It's feeling like it outside. It feels like summer. So I felt like we needed a good summertime movie to kind of get us in the spirit. And I think that, personally, I think we picked a hit. What do you think?
Well, and you picked it. Let's be honest. Well, now, there are a lot, and as we continue to do the podcast and continue to do movie clubs, we'll be hitting all these. But there are a lot of great nostalgic summer movies that we could have done, and I'm sure that some of you have different ones than the one we're talking about today. But I think for Justin and I, and our specific childhood. The movie we're talking about today, which you probably already know, is Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yes.
Is a summertime classic. And we watched it a ton growing up.
I have, I have seen this movie 10,000 times.
Yes.
And I just watched it.
Realistically, at least 20. Like, a lot. Like,
I would say that's being very conservative.
Yes, agreed.
We watched it a lot as a kid. I watched it earlier today, so it would be, kind of fresh in my mind. I have seen that movie so much. It's one of those that, like, every little sound cue,
every beat.
It's like I have memorized, like the cadence of the way lines are said and the way music cues hit. It was just like, I mean. It felt like such a big part of my childhood was apparently soundtracked by, by movies like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of
no.
another, like a really big summer classic that I'm sure was big for people our age, and which is like The Sandlot. I know that's huge for my husband, but like you and I didn't really watch The Sandlot as kids.
You know, that's a conversation I was actually having the other day with someone who couldn't believe that I didn't. I like you. I didn't see The Sandlot until I was an adult, so
Yeah.
I'd feel like while our
I
generation
don't have nostalgia for it.
while our generation
Yeah.
has a ton of nostalgia for it,
Yeah.
and I get it. Like,
Oh, sure,
I just,
yeah.
yeah, I don't have that nostalgic enjoyment of it, but I feel like, oh man, I can't believe I never watched this. I would have loved this as a kid.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Know?
But I'm sure there's a lot of people out here who never watched Ernest Goes to Camp and are like, that's their summer nostalgia movie. And
this is the Cool Kids
is.
Movie Club.
It
we,
is.
We induct movies that were big for us, and I don't have to defend Ernest at all.
No,
Because I'll tell you
will
what,
not.
I am
will
a
not.
hardcore Ernest P. Worrell fan, and I'm
Yes.
so happy that we're finally talking about Ernest on the podcast.
I know.
And this is the first of what I'm sure will be many. So, if you are unfamiliar with Ernest, let us familiarize you.
Yes, let us.
Let us take our
take
hand,
you on a journey.
take our hands, and let us
back to
guide
1980.
you in Kentucky and Tennessee.
I was gonna say we were in Tennessee, weren't we? Which I just say that even though you and I weren't born here, I think we call Tennessee home still, and I just want to say how proud I am that Ernest is a Nashville thing, like came from Tennessee. Like, you know, there are a few things we can be proud of here, but Ernest is one of them.
Ernest is one of those things that was never ever in any incarnation ever critically successful.
No.
Anyone who was writing a review of an Ernest movie probably hated it.
Yep.
But
It's not real highbrow stuff.
It's not real highbrow stuff. But there is genuine, I will say, comedic genius in some of the
Yes.
stuff that
Absolutely.
that that the character of Ernest was a part of.
Yeah.
I think that it's also really emblematic of. I think it's extra nostalgic for us because it was sort of big in the part of the country, even when we were in Florida. Mm-hmm. He was more of a phenomenon in more of like the southern states, in the
Yes.
Midwest.
Yeah.
And it was sort of something that became more of a mainstream thing later on.
Right.
But it felt like he felt like a character that if you have to live in a certain part of the country,
Yes.
maybe
That you might know someone like Ernest.
that you know someone who's kind of like that.
Yes.
And I think that if you live in other parts of the country, it may just be stupid to you, but like,
or
when
just like something you can't relate to at all because you're like, people aren't like this. And
Right.
you're like, some people
yeah.
are.
But if you live in certain areas,
Yeah.
you probably know somebody who's kind of like that. And
As Jack Donaghy would say, if you live in real America.
Real America.
Real America.
This here's real America.
Well,
That's
so
right.
how did...
Your flyover states and whatnot.
Your flyover states, exactly. So how did Ernest get started? Like, how did this become a thing? Is this something Jim Varney came up with?
No, it's not something Jim Varney initially came up with.
Well, tell us about how this character became.
Well, now let me take my hand. Let me
Spin us a yarn.
spin you a yarn about
Yeah.
old Ernest here. No, actually, the creator of Ernest is a guy named John Cherry who just passed away.
Wow.
Like a month ago,
I
unfortunately.
didn't know that.
Yeah. So he was one of the founders and CEOs of an ad agency out of Nashville, Tennessee called Cart Cherry.
Okay.
And he created the character of Ernest in 1980 based on someone he knew who had worked for his father.
Someone he knew.
See? Yeah, someone
Yeah.
he knew
Yeah.
growing up in Tennessee who
Yep.
worked for his dad and who he described as, quote, thought he knew everything but did not know anything.
Yeah.
End quote.
100%. 100%.
So yeah, this Ernest started as a pitchman, a commercial pitchman character out of Nashville. And Ernest was portrayed the entire time by Jim Varney. who
I
is
love Jim Varney.
We got a lot of love for Jim Varney.
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah, oh for sure. Who was an actor out of Kentucky. So a southern boy,
A Southern man. Yeah,
a Shakespearean trained actor, may I add.
that's insane.
In fact, he studied Shakespeare at Barter Theater, which is about 40 minutes up the road from,
Oh my God, did he
from me
really?
right now. Yes,
I
he
don't
did.
think I knew that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I
yeah,
love
which is right up the
Barter.
road from us. Oh yeah. So Jim Varney studied Shakespeare there. Barter is a very
Very esteemed local theater.
yes.
Gregory Peck once was in the company there at Barter.
Yeah,
There's
a lot of famous people came through there.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did a lot of theater, and he did do some television in the 70s, like some variety TV and
Yeah, I could totally see that.
things
yeah.
like that. And then he was also a stand-up comic, so that was mainly
Okay.
what he was doing. He had kind of a nice, successful little run going at like doing theater between theater and television.
Yeah.
And then his stand-up comedy, and then so he gets this gig as Ernest, and they start filming commercials mostly at John Cherry's house
Okay.
in Nashville, Tennessee.
So
And-
was it like they would just get like would he pitch just anything that wasn't like, oh, he's the mattress store guy? Like he would do like
whatever
several he would do pitches
countless.
for whatever.
I mean, you can look up like compilations of his commercials, and I actually own a
wow.
couple.
Really?
of his commercial compilations. Yeah, I mean anything and everything.
That's
they
crazy.
they would film. I mean, they really started to get like a big client list, and it was always smaller companies, smaller
Sure.
like, regional type
Yeah.
companies. There were only a couple of times where he did anything national.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, something that probably you and I and only a handful of others listening will care about, one of the only national promotions Ernest ever did commercials for was Taco John's.
Burrito Steve's?
Burrito Steve's. So yeah, there are Ernest Taco John's commercials.
Oh, potato olays.
Yes,
Taco
indeed.
John's is if you may live somewhere with a Taco John's. We are lucky enough to live. Justin lives like a 3-minute drive from a Taco John's.
Yeah,
The little
it's something
potato
else, man.
olays and that cheese.
It's something else.
That's amazing.
It's a
That's
blessing.
Amazing. Oh, it really is.
So they
Well,
got
that's-
this huge client list built up, and they're
Yeah.
filming these commercials. Sometimes they said they were filming up to 25 spots in one day.
Holy shit.
And so they're all being written by Cherry and Jim Varney.
Oh, so
And
they're writing. So the companies would just be like, "We want you to do a spot for us," and they would write the bit.
they
the
would
script.
write different. They would write commercials, and then they would plug in the names of certain things.
Oh, okay.
So it was like they were doing a bunch of the same commercials, just with
With
whatever
different-
brand they were doing a commercial for plugged into it, because they wouldn't air, they would only air regionally.
So it didn't. Okay, so these
you
weren't
weren't
all
seeing,
Nashville
Yeah,
commercials.
people in Florida are not going to see necessarily the same commercial that they're going to see in like Texas.
Oh, okay. So all the clients were not all local to Nashville.
Right. So there's
Gotcha.
tons and tons of these commercials.
Oh,
that's
man.
what they're, these little 30-second skits, and he's always so he's kind of the like a white blue collar yokel.
Yes,
I guess is how
yes,
he's sort of
very
described.
much.
Sort of a good old boy, kind-hearted, I would say.
Yes, and he does just. We'll talk about how Ernest Goes to Camp. He plays like a maintenance guy, but he
Yeah.
just very much has like janitor energy.
Yeah, yes.
Like,
he's a janitor at the bank, and Ernest goes to jail.
Yes,
He's the maintenance guy at the camp. He is
that's just
a
the
garbage
vibe.
man in Scared Stupid,
Yes,
and
Oh,
he's
what he
driving a
does-
cab in the Christmas one.
Yeah, in the Christmas one.
And then he drives a sleigh. Spoiler
And those
alert.
are the only 4 good ones. And we don't talk about the other one.
We may talk about the other ones
We
eventually.
may.
But
Yeah, just,
these are all written
just imagine very janitor energy going
by
on.
janitor energy.
Yes.
The denim vest, the khaki hat. He's always talking to the camera, which I think really makes the Ernest shtick very unique.
Yes.
So he's always talking to the camera, and he's always addressing someone who you never see,
Right.
named Vern.
It's not that he's addressing us as the audience.
No, he's talking to Vern,
he's addressing
which is the
Vern,
camera.
who is presumably the cameraman.
We are Vern.
Yes, we are Vern.
Hashtag we are Vern.
We are Marshall, but
let's get that trending.
Hashtag we are Vern.
So he's really, holding a mirror up to society, I think.
Yes.
And
the vernification of society.
The vernification of society.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are Vern. I always felt like it was like Vern was the cameraman. That's how I always.
I always got the impression Vern's just a guy that he knows that he just has globbed onto this guy and won't leave him alone, and just like makes his life a living hell just because he is such a dumbass. And he just despite his best efforts to like shake this guy off, he just keeps hanging out.
Now I can't remember if it's this movie or what movie or bit it was where he opens his closet and he just has a bunch of the exact same, like the jeans and the gray shirts and the vest.
Yeah.
I can't remember which one it is.
I think that's Goes to Jail, maybe.
Okay.
And we should say, just sidebar, we're totally doing podcasts on all of these movies. Probably also the TV show, which we'll talk about here in a bit.
Yes.
There's more Ernest content coming, so I hope you like some Ernest.
Hope you like Ernest. Well, so he starts gaining popularity doing these regional commercials, starts to really catch on with people.
Especially kids.
Right. Well, because he's very lovable, and he's very family friendly.
What's his catchphrase?
Know what I mean?
Know what I mean, Vern?
Know what I mean, Vern?
Yeah. So that this starts gaining steam amongst kids. In certain areas, again.
Sure. In real America. I'm sorry if you don't live in real America.
In real America. So what happens is they start, because he's kind of becoming like a kind of an underground popularity almost. They start getting requests for bigger and bigger clients, but a lot of the contracts they have with their smaller people kind of
keep them.
They would be violating their contracts if they took them, so they can't take them.
Yeah.
So John Cherry and Jim Varney decide, well, we're just going to transition the character then and into film and TV.
Right.
Like instead of doing ads anymore, because we can't. Because we kind of can't grow the business any more than it already is. Yeah,
exactly. Okay, cool. So I didn't realize that's how they became to, or came to be like, broke into like TV and movies and stuff.
Yeah. So there's a few early things that that Jim Varney does in which the character of Ernest appears, maybe in various roles, not necessarily as the main character. There's one called Hey Vern, It's My Family Album.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Which I think was 83, I believe. Okay. And actually part of that was filmed in my town that I live in, my little town.
What? Oh, I think I knew that. Now that you say that.
Yeah, at Sycamore Shoals. Yeah.
Oh, God. That's so weird.
We can watch it sometime if you want. I've got it.
Definitely. Well, and we're going to talk later about how Ernest Goes to Camp is filmed outside of Nashville. And I'm like, how have we not gone? I mean, clearly it's going to happen now.
I think I'm going to try to make a quick weekend trip to Nashville at the very end of July. If you want to go with me, we'll go to the Ernest Park.
Okay, we'll talk after the pod.
We'll talk later.
We'll talk later. So what about there's like is this a movie, this Dr. Otto and the Riddle of the Gloom Beam?
I can't believe you're asking me that question, because I can't believe you haven't seen Dr. Otto and the Riddle of the Gloom Beams. So it's a mouthful. Dr. Otto.
It is.
And the Riddle of the Gloom Beam is a sci-fi spoof that they make. It comes out in 1985. Super low budget. Dr. Otto is the character, Amy. There's a lot of characters.
Now, I remember the Dr. Otto character.
And he has the hand on his head.
Yes.
And he's always...
Yes.
And the fingers are going on top of his head.
Yeah, I remember that. I just haven't seen this movie.
Yeah, so there was a Dr. Otto movie. It was the first movie, actual movie, that features the character of Ernest.
Oh, okay.
And a lot of other Jim Varney characters.
Okay.
So that's 1985. This I thought this is a wonderful little story here.
Okay.
So how does Jim Varney go from, he's making commercials for car dealerships and, auto parts stores and supermarket chains or whatever. How does he go from that to making mid-budget theatrical movies?
Yeah.
And the answer is the 1985 Indianapolis 500.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to guess.
Right?
That's exactly the conduit that I thought.
I figured it was that. Okay, so the Indianapolis 500 in 1985, they're doing a Disney day. The theme of the race is Disney.
Okay.
And so they have like a parade thing with like, the grand marshals and all this. And, it's a big deal. The heads of Disney, Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg are there. Yeah. And Mickey Mouse goes by in his car. And everyone's like, modest, like, woo. Woo. And then Ernest goes by.
So now, can I ask, why was he a part of Disney Day?
He wasn't. He was just a part of this Indianapolis parade that happened to include a bunch of Disney stuff.
I see.
But he was one. He was one of
500 people had asked him to come because he was probably like a regional. He was in. He was like
one of the celebrity appearances.
Okay, I got.
So he wasn't part of the Disney aspect, but he was part of the whole parade thing there.
Okay.
So Mickey goes by and everyone
he
wowed
the crowd.
And he goes by, and people lose their fucking minds. They erupt for Ernest, and he's getting, "Hey Vern, hey Vern, hey Vern."
They're chanting at him.
They lose their mind. He's getting chants. Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg are watching this, going like, "What the fuck's an Ernest?
Yeah,
who is this? And why is he getting like 10 times the reaction that Mickey fucking Mouse?" is getting
Mick Mouse.
Mick Mouse.
Yeah.
So they learn who the Ernest character is and call John Cherry and set up a meeting, and that's how this
crazy.
That's how this movie got made. So it was produced by Disney, and it was apparently originally, like for a long time, going to be under the Disney Pictures brand.
Really?
Yeah. And I think like even like Michael Eisner thought it should be and all this, but they kind of went back and forth on it, and then it was decided. It ended up
being Touchstone, wasn't it?
Yes, Touchstone, which is another Disney kind of company. One of their studios.
Yeah.
And they thought that it was a better fit for Touchstone, but it was almost a Disney Pictures movie.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So the movie was directed by John Cherry, of course. And it was written by John Cherry and Coke Sams, who he was their longtime collaborator. He basically wrote all the commercials with them.
That's a great name, by the way.
Coke Sams.
Coke Sams.
It is a great name.
That's a great name. I love it. And it was filmed at Montgomery Bell State Park outside of Nashville, Tennessee in the fall of 1986. And it was released on May 22nd. Our parents' wedding anniversary of 1987.
Oh, man. Yep,
the year I was born.
Man. How about that?
Yeah.
Also, I want you to know that as I was typing my notes, it's Montgomery Bell State Park. And I typed Montgomery Burns. Like from The Simpsons.
I thought you were going to say.
And I was reading
Montgomery
back through
Ward.
them. I was like, Montgomery. Is there really a state park in Tennessee that has the same name as Mr. Burns from The Simpsons? And I looked it up. And I was like,
I have just missed it.
No, we don't.
Although, let's petition it to be changed.
Sure. Yeah,
sure.
Let's do that. That seems like something I feel like doing.
That seems like a good use of our time, energy, and money. Yeah.
Hey, Amy.
Hey, Vern.
Hey, Vern.
Hey, Vern.
Tell us about this damn movie. We've talked about.
I can't wait.
We've talked about where the Ernest character came from.
All right.
And how the movie got to be. Okay, now we've got a movie. Disney's producing this thing. Touchstone Pictures. It's out May 22nd, 1987. He's going to camp. Well, what the hell's he going to do? Tell us about this movie.
So because Ernest has such janitor energy, they write him as a maintenance man for this summer camp. Kamp Kikakee. So he's just really earnesting around. at this camp. But he, and he's the maintenance guy, and he's not great at it, but he really, he admires all the camp counselors that work there, and he really wants to be one of the counselors. He thinks that he has, he's so naive, and he like loves the kids even though they're shitheads, and like he just really feels like he has something to give to the kids. And he's good friends
because he's a rube.
Because exactly. Much like who was the little pig on Tiny Toons that we talked about? Hampton pig. I was like, I know it's
a bit of a
Porky.
rube, like Hampton.
A bit of a rube, yes.
Kamp Kikakee.
Kamp Kikakee. He's close with the camp nurse, Nurse St. Cloud. And her father, who actually owns all the land that Kamp Kikakee is on, and that's Chief St. Cloud.
So there's a lot of Native American.
Yes.
I mean, all fictitious, but Native American iconography.
Yes.
And lore, not, again, fictitious, but
yes.
There's a whole lot of Native American stuff in there. I also
really, this is a movie about, the white man taking the Native Americans' land.
Yeah, it certainly has an environmental message.
Like a lot of things this era.
Yes.
But it is. This is so the whole camp is owned. This is Native American land, and you've got the whole story with Ernest. Wanting to become a counselor, and this group of kids that comes in. We'll talk about in a minute. But then you have this like bigger story of these just scummy
it's a mining
white guys
company.
It's a mining company wanting to come in and just get rid of the camp, take this land, use it for mining. So you've got this like larger story going on.
And so this mining corporation is Sherman Crater.
Crater,
played by the incomparable John Vernon. Who was in 10 billion things and just always wonderful.
Absolutely.
Petrosite is what they're after. Yes. Which is not a real mineral either. I also want to talk about for a minute Iron Eyes Cody, because I don't know when we're going to get a chance to talk about old Iron Eyes Cody again.
Who plays Chief St. Cloud?
Who plays Chief St. Cloud? Who owns the land that the camp is on? Yes. Iron Eyes Cody is a very famous actor who played lots of Native American roles for many, many decades. This is actually his last film appearance.
That's right, it is.
He's also probably most famous for being in the litter commercial in the 1970s.
Oh my God! So much trash on the highway.
There's so much trash on the highway. Where he has the tear rolling down his cheek. That was him.
I don't think I realized that this was the same actor until just now.
It is. And so this was his whole career, was playing Native American roles like this. And I bring this up because there was some controversy in his lifetime, which he denied about his heritage. And then he didn't die until the late 90s. Though he didn't act after this movie. And after he died, basically it was revealed he was Italian and was in no part Native American.
What?
Yeah, so that's all Iron Eyes Cody, who made an entire career out of being a Native American.
Pretending to be a Native American. Well, that's fucking terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So
was Victoria Racimos, who played Nurse St. Cloud, Native American?
Yes, I believe she is Native American, yes.
My God. Wow.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. I did not know that.
It's wild, right?
That is wild.
So, yeah, you've got this big mining corporation, but then you also have the camp characters.
Yes.
So, yeah, we've already said that he's friends with Nurse St. Cloud and her dad, Chief St. Cloud. Old Iron Eyes.
Old Iron Eyes.
Old Lion Eyes.
You're exactly right.
Yeah,
old
like
Lion
the Eagles.
Eyes.
Like the Eagles song.
Just like the Eagles.
Yeah.
But he's also friends with the two camp cooks. And now these two
I want you to talk about these boys.
These two actors Gaylord Sartain and Daniel Butler. They appear in other Ernest movies, correct?
Well, Gaylord Sartain does. Daniel Butler only appears as Eddie this one time.
Okay.
Because in all the other ones, Eddie is played by that guy, and I don't have his name in front of me, the really old skinny guy.
Yes.
Who has like the big jaw that his chin juts out.
Yes.
That guy.
And he like in the Christmas one, he doesn't talk, right? He's like is he like a
he
mute,
says
or
he says things occasionally.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah.
So now, are they the characters? I can't remember. Jake and Eddie, are those characters that appear, or just the actors?
Yeah. They're supposed to be brothers.
Okay. Well, they're the Kamp Cooks. And they have invented this new meal called Eggs Erroneous. And there's a great scene of them trying to get Ernest to eat it. And it looks fucking
There's a
disgusting.
couple great Eggs Erroneous scenes.
Yes. They have
a giant comical machine built.
Yes.
In which they throw all kinds of stuff. Another great scene of him throwing. It looks like a giant wood chipper. Is what I think that's probably what it is.
And then it just spits out like random.
Yeah, and then later they put wheels on it so they can take it around with them.
Naturally, they gotta make it mobile. Yeah.
I also want to point out, while we're talking about Jake and Eddie, the cooks at the camp, that Eddie, the whole time, talks in a Thurston Howell voice. Thurston Howell from Gilligan's Island.
Yes.
He talks like this.
He talks like this.
For some
I don't
reason.
know why.
Apparently, Gaylord Sartain like dared him to do it or something, and they just like
that's it.
It just became a thing.
Oh,
he was like, you have to do the whole movie in a. He may have lost a bet or something like that, where it's like now he has to do his role with a Thurston Howard voice. So
that's
the whole
hysterical.
time he talks like this. Eggs erroneous.
Eggs erroneous.
Eggs erroneous. Bouillabaisse.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, go watch fucking Gilligan's Island. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, you should know Thurston Howell.
Go listen to our Nick at Night episode.
Yeah, surely we talked about it.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about the second chancers.
Oh,
Amy,
the second
here's the
chancers.
Here's the other big part of the plot of this movie.
Right. So you've got Ernest, who wants to be a counselor, and it looks like most of the kids that go here are pretty middle class, rich kids, kind of
your normal kids.
Yeah,
your public school kids.
Yeah, there you go.
And then probably some private school kids that are little rich shits, but typical.
Well, they bring in this on a school bus. They bring in these delinquents
with some music like bluesy.
Well, because you need to know that they're delinquents.
They're bad, I'm sure there was some
bad.
saxophone, maybe some harmonica in there, but it's
exactly. Oh, jam!
You know what I mean? And you're like, oh shit, these kids are bad news.
I know exactly what you mean. So they pull up, and they're called the Second Chancers. Let me tell you, their costumes are so great. You have one kid wearing like a blue t-shirt with a open gray like suit vest over it, and then a skinny tie.
So that is now that there. Let's talk about their names.
Bobby Wayne?
Also, let's go down the list. We got Bobby Wayne.
That's Bobby Wayne.
Bobby Wayne. He's the ringleader. He's the gentleman you're talking about. With like a tie.
Also with
some
sunglasses. He's got like a skinny tie. With the t-shirt.
All
and
of these kids would have been so mean to me, except for Moose.
Oh, now Moose is great.
Yeah, you got
Moose is a sweet angel.
Crutchfield. I love when the juvenile, like the detention officer, goes down the line, introduces them.
Yes,
I love just
That's
the way
such a
she
fun
introduced.
Scene.
Like
I know.
now we're telling the story of these boys.
Yeah, it's so good. I love it.
Danny Simpson. He's the kid with the open. He always has the open the
open
yellow
Hawaiian shirt. That's Danny Simpson. I mean, now he's
Butch?
Italian.
He's definitely Italian.
He is 100% Italian.
Yeah, he's not hiding it. He's not.
Which
he's
one
not
was
hiding
Crutchfield? Was that the
He's
one
loud
with
and
the
proud.
denim vest?
Yes.
Okay.
And the studs.
Yeah.
He's doing a Billy Idol type thing.
Yes. You've got Butch Too Cool Vargas. He's the one with kind of the
Butch
green army
Too
jacket.
Cool Vargas. you gotta say it like that. Butch Too.
Well, I'll let you do the
Vargas.
impressions.
Well, he's too cool. I'm not doing an impression. I'm just saying the Einstein of the group. Chipaw's good.
He's wearing the gray suit jacket, right?
He's the smart one who's also a little overweight.
Yeah.
But he's still cool and a badass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
he's
then
just a smart badass.
You have the littlest guy of the group.
The runt of the litter.
The runt, Mustafa Moose Jones.
Moose.
So
he's a good one. He's a teeny tiny little boy.
He is, and it's like he's definitely younger than the rest, but they like fiercely protect him.
Yes. They also they abuse him in the way that like a big brother abuses a little brother. Like, you got to carry all our bags,
right?
Sort of
but
thing.
also,
but
if
then
anyone
also
tries to
like
fuck with
like
you,
the
I'll
way that
kill
an
him.
older sibling protects a younger sibling. It's that kind of deal.
Yeah, like the time that you had to.
I knew you were going to say
step
that.
up to my middle school bullies and threaten them.
Step up to the streets is what I said.
He stepped right up to him. That's what he did.
I stepped up to the streets. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you got the second chancers coming in, right?
Yeah.
And they're immediately clashing with like the
immediately
more, like, the preppy jockey,
There's a whole mess hall fight.
It's all boys, by the way. All boys.
It is. It's all boy camp.
A co-ed camp. This is a boys camp. There's like one female in this entire movie, and I think it's the nurse.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So of course
they have an
clashing,
immediate, like as soon as they get to the mess hall,
and then they're given a real jewel of a camp counselor.
Oh God, he's the fucking worst.
Ross Stennis.
Some
of the names in this movie are so good. Ross Stennis.
Yeah, that is great. I love it. He's an absolute dick.
He's a dickhead. He treats them like shit. He treats them like criminals, and like he's better than them.
He definitely gives me he's like just a.
However, they are troublemakers.
Well, they are.
They start a big fight in the mess hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, Stennis is a dick to everybody. Stennis is a real dick to Ernest, and I don't fucking like that.
And that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You can't be a dick to Ernest.
No, because he is just hapless.
You need to question
naive.
your life choices and the path you're on if you find yourself being a dick to Ernest.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you've done something wrong. You have strayed.
I agree. Yeah. Well,
so what happens to old Stennis?
Oh, well, let's see. He tries to teach the second chancers how to swim, and ends up pushing Moose in, and Moose he can't swim. He doesn't want to jump in. You got a bit of a what about Bob situation where he's backing away.
Scared of the water.
So Stennis pushes him in.
Yeah.
And Ernest saves him, of course.
Like straight pushes him in.
Yeah. Like
boom.
Yeah.
And then stands there while he like flails around in the water.
Exactly.
Like,
basically drowning. Ernest, of course, comes up, gives him a hand, gets him out. And then Stennis goes back up to his little lifeguard perch, and he's like, all right, kids, we're going to do it again. And so the rest of the second chancers, again, because you don't fuck with one of your own.
No, you don't.
They notice that his
You done fucked up now, Stennis.
Yeah. They notice that his little lifeguard stand is like teetering a little bit. So basically they push him in the water. Lifeguard stand and all. The whole thing.
He gets it. He gets what's coming to him pretty early on.
He does, and he hurts his leg, and I will always my leg. That's one of the
I do that voice anytime my leg hurts at all.
Correct. Anytime I've hurt my leg in any way. So they're down a camp counselor. Justin.
Oh no!
Enter
Who can
Ernest.
step up and fill the shoes of Stennis. I should also say that he's when he pushes Moose in the water, he calls it learning how to swim the Stennis way.
Yes.
And then when they push him off the lifeguard stand and he breaks his leg, they also say that he's learning how to do it the Stennis way.
Exactly.
And I've always thought that was just a wonderful name for something.
The Stennis way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was an old Digital Chisel song. Shout out Eric Sheets.
Oh man, you know he's listening.
I hope so.
So Ernest's dreams come true.
All of Ernest's dreams have come true.
But the thing is they've now put him over the second chancers, and they're also not great to Ernest.
No, they are shitheads, despite the other kids being shitheads too. Yeah. And Stennis being a shithead. These kids are also shitheads.
They are. It's true.
Yeah.
So Ernest is trying in earnest to teach him to teach these kids skills, but he doesn't really know what he's doing. He's trying to teach them how to start a fire. He's trying to teach them survival skills in general.
How about what not to do to a family of badgers?
Yubbity. One of the best parts is, yes, they come across a family of badgers, and Ernest is like, "Oh, what do we have here? Look, guys, and proceeds to say, "Never do this to a family of badgers." Yubbity, and of course shows them what happens when they do that to a family of badgers. It's a great gag. I fucking love it. I love everything about this movie.
He teaches them how to sharpen a knife.
Right through the meat
of the hand.
Also a great bit.
Trying
to teach him how to start a fire.
I honestly just made a little list of things I want to talk about here.
Yeah.
Eggs erroneous, we kind of talked about that. They're the disgusting melange of all different kinds of food and non-food items, it seems.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the golf cart gag. Or I don't know if it's a golf cart necessarily. It's not really a golf cart. It's kind of like
it's almost like a riding lawnmower. It looks like kind of. But
it's like halfway between a riding lawnmower and a golf cart.
So this is kind of like what he rides to get around the camp.
Yeah, it's his little maintenance car that he goes around the camp in. Mm-hmm. And at the beginning, it takes off on him.
Yeah, he goes in to plunge a toilet, and he turns around and you see the golf cart or whatever it is, just kind of drive off, and he doesn't realize it.
And then periodically, you see it go
throughout
by.
The movie.
Throughout the movie, the golf cart will just go by. Sometimes in the background, sometimes it's really noticeable. And then it plays into the end of the movie. Also,
it does. It's a great gag. I love it.
It is.
You've got him getting the shot.
Let's talk about for a minute. As I phrased it in the notes here, the best of Ernest getting hurt.
Oh yeah.
So,
which is very much an Ernest thing. Let me just a hallmark
it's very
Ernest's
slapstick
character. Yes. Yeah, it's always getting hurt,
and always just shaking it off.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Is the other thing. Yeah.
So tell us about some of the best ones from this movie.
Well, I know one of your favorites is early on. It's one of the first incidents where he gets hurt, which is he has to go get his shots.
Yeah.
His vaccinations at the nurse's office.
Yes. And as someone who terribly is afraid of needles, and as a kid would really freak the fuck out when I had to get a shot, I really understand this. But his little, is that the smallest needle you have? When she busts out the needle.
A man who has never tasted quiche. He brings up quiche a couple times. When they're walking through the woods, he talks about being in Nam and not eating quiche. He's like, you can't even get quiche in Nam.
This movie's wonderful.
It really is. Lunch tray face mold is what I have next here in the notes.
That is during the mess hall fight at the beginning.
It is during the mess hall fight.
He steps in. Of course, after the second chancers come in, they start a fight. All the kids are throwing their food and their lunch trays around, and someone turns around as he has come in to break up the fight and just smacks him right in the face with one. And in classic, very Bugs Bunny, he's got his hat on with the brim, and it literally molds to his whole face. And how do they get it off?
One of the kids hits him in the face with a frying pan, which
loosens
that
it.
pops it loose.
Yeah.
And then he flies back from being hit in the face with a frying pan.
Into the best old school Coke machine.
Into the best. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
The best old school mid-'80s Coke machine. Summer camp Coke machine. hits the ground, and then the Coke machine falls on him.
Sure.
For ta-da! And there's the bit.
In a bit that would have surely killed him, but
yes,
much
well,
like
there's
Home
lots
Alone,
of things.
you just have to.
There's lots of things in the Ernest movies that should kill him, and I like even in some of the later ones, even though you reach diminishing returns with the Ernest movies, certainly.
Yeah.
They kind of reference like how he can't really get hurt like a little bit. There's one line in particular, and I think it's in the last theatrical movie, which is Ernest Rides Again.
Yes.
Where he says something like, I'd be dead if I wasn't this close to being an actual cartoon.
Yeah. That seems about right.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Badgers attack him. Gets face smashed by a lunch tray. Coke machine falls on him. He falls off the sign at the beginning.
Yes.
He gets his shots. He has a run-in with his turtle. He
has
a turtle?
His turtle named Pokey. And
yes.
He's trying to confide in Pokey about how he's feeling, and Pokey just leans out and bites his nose, and he's a little snappy.
He clamps right on.
And my favorite thing is Ernest is talking. He's talking to Pokey, and he does it.
He's like,
and he's like,
"Oh, Pokey,
God!"
No,
and he's
Pokey.
like, he says, "You said you'd never do this again," which is my favorite.
This is a pattern of behavior.
Yeah, they've
Pokey
had a
the
discussion
turtle.
about this already, and Pokey
yeah.
swore he would
promised.
never. You promised you'd never do this again.
Oh God!
So
how do they end up? How do they end up getting the turtle off his nose?
Oh well, they have to sing to it.
That's right. And the boys, the second chancers, they have a song.
He's feeling down. That's why he's talking to Pokey.
These kids don't like me. They keep playing pranks on me. They wrap me up like a mummy and then unspooled
tie
me
me
with
to
a bus.
the bus, which was another great gag.
Another great gag. That also would have killed him.
Yeah. And so the guys come in, and they're actually helpful this time, and they sing, and I'm sure this was chosen for a reason. They sing "Happy Together" by the Turtles. Which is a great song, and it's not the first time, or it's not the last time, I'm sorry, that it is used in this movie. So some other good gags, some good Ernest getting hurt. You've got his like makeshift barbecue rotisserie machine, remember? With
his like the pulley system, I feel
he thinks he's very clever. He's just gonna be able to like sit there and like let this happen.
And almost sets himself on fire.
Sets himself on fire. It's a great one.
Drags himself into a fire. It's wonderful.
It's just great. There's just a lot of good. I feel like working at a summer camp, you've got a lot of good opportunities to get hurt.
Right. He also gets ends up in a fire ant hill.
Yes.
At the picnic.
Yes.
And
that's a good one.
So that kind of like we're sort of at the lowest point in the movie, right? So he gets the fire ants, and then the second chance kids play one last big prank on him, and
I know
they give him the poison ivy and tell, it's flowers, haha, and so he rubs it all over him.
Yeah.
And now he's got that, and
he can't brush it off anymore. But
worse than any of that is because he is one of the only other people besides his daughter who can communicate with old Lion Eyes Cody. He basically gets manipulated into having Chief St. Cloud sign over the camp to the mining company.
I know. So it's
now
awful.
We have a situation where the camp's gonna have to close. And the evil mining company is coming in, and they're going to tear the camp down. And they're bringing in Crater Industries construction crew. Lyle Alonso plays Brock Stinson. Or, I'm sorry, not Brock. Bronk.
Bronk?
Bronk Stinson.
That is quite a name.
Yeah. He plays the foreman of the construction crew who beats the ever-loving piss out of Ernest at one point.
Oh, yeah.
And goes in these people's houses and like rips the friggin' Dora. He's a big scary bad guy.
He is. It's awful.
Yeah, and he's Crater's foreman. He's his henchman.
God. Well, with a name like Bronk, you don't have a lot of career opportunities.
Bronk Stinson. Yeah, your career options are limited.
Yeah, they are.
So it is at this point in the movie that Ernest makes me cry. Do you want to talk about?
Well, we have a musical number that it's just kind of out of nowhere. Ernest is at his lowest. Yeah, and he sings a song. And now you're probably gonna make fun of me because I'm gonna ask: is this a real song or was this something he wrote for the movie?
It was written for this movie.
Okay, I couldn't remember. He sings, "Gee, I'm glad it's raining."
Gee, I'm glad it's raining. There's always something to be thankful for. I'm awfully glad it's raining, 'cause no one sees your teardrops when it pours. And no one knows the thunder is your heartbreak in disguise. They think the rainy nights what put that sad look in your eyes. Sure, I'm glad it's raining. The gentle rhythm soothes the pain inside. I'm glad the stars aren't shining. A wounded warrior needs a place to hide. I thought I had found someone I could count on till the end. What they wanted was a hero. All I needed was a friend. And gee, I'm glad it's raining. I hope the morning sun won't come up soon. As long as it keeps raining, no one knows my heart broke right in two. I thought I had found someone I could count on till the end. What they wanted was a hero. All I needed was a friend. Sure, I'm glad it's raining. I'm awfully glad it's raining.
Why is he glad it's raining?
Well, so you can't see the teardrops in his eyes.
Can't see the tears.
So we stopped the movie at this point, in which this is the end of the second act, and all the characters are down and out.
Yeah.
Even the shitty kids and the counselors are
because they kind of like it there.
They like it there. Yeah. And so we're gonna take a break, and Ernest is gonna sing a song, and it's not gonna be a funny song. Nope, it's gonna be a genuine, heart-wrenching, tearjerker performance about how sad he is. And apparently, Jim Varney sang it in one take.
Really?
Yeah, and it's great, and there's not another moment like it in any other Ernest media that I've ever seen.
It's just
where
very
it actually
heartfelt.
is like very sincere for like
3
minutes.
Yep. And then we're back at it.
And then we're back at it.
And then we have a giant battle, which includes like parachutes.
Well, we gotta save the camp, Amy.
We gotta save
the camp. You've sung your sad song.
Yeah.
Now it's time to save the camp.
Action.
We're gonna do one of my favorite tropes of all time. Which is we're going to bring enemies together to fight a common enemy. So we're going to see the second chance kids and the shitty rich kids that, while they burn their teepee down at one point. We see these two groups come together for the good of the camp.
That's right. Because they all want to. They all want to save
Ernest,
the camp.
with Ernest.
That's right.
Yes,
that's right.
And
Ernest is the unsung hero here.
He's very sung, I think.
I guess he is.
He's pretty sung. I mean,
pretty
he's sung.
Okay.
So they, you have this construction company that's set up and getting ready to knock the camp down and strip the land and all this stuff, and they just straight up attack them. Let's talk about the Battle of Kamp Kikakee.
Well, so you've got several things on it. You have flying toilet bombs.
Well, I think we should talk about the big vehicle, because the big vehicle had quite the impression on me as a kid.
Okay,
I feel like
tell us
every
about
child, maybe it was just boys, I don't know, but things like that where I was always enthralled. It looked like it was made out of the bus or an old bus. And it had like a rope ladder. It had that went up to a crow's nest. It had catapults. It looked like, a wacky G.I. Joe toy come to life.
Yeah, it was
made
pretty
out of like
impressive.
Stuff you could get at a summer camp. And I just loved it. I love it so much. It so much.
It's really incredible.
Yeah.
And they all as a team, they come together to make this happen.
Yeah, and they commit an act of eco-terrorism.
That's true, they do.
Yeah, they do. And it rules. It's awesome. They're stealing smoke bombs. Why do they have smoke bombs? What do you need smoke bombs for?
I have no idea.
Why
they
would this
bust out
construction
the
company have smoke
Exeronius machine.
Oh, the Exeronius machine is now mobile. It's now
an
Exeronius. Kind of, it's a food truck.
It's a food truck.
I'm gonna set up I'm gonna go to a farmer's market and set up my Exeronius machine.
Yeah, you
on
only
Saturday
serve
mornings.
egg dishes.
Yeah,
from your Exeronius food truck.
I throw it in the one end and it comes flying out of you like a wood chipper on the other.
Exactly.
end.
You just got to stand there and
you have to
bring
a container and catch it.
Yeah.
This is a great idea. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna invest all my money into this.
Yes.
So
they're flinging food. They're flinging Exeronius and disgusting foods. Mm-hmm. At the construction site.
They've got the toilet bombs.
Yes. They have smoke bombs that they launch. They steal from the site.
I mean,
they steal all kinds of explosive stuff from the site.
Frankly, my favorite is the turtles, though.
Let's talk about the turtles, because we already had one snapping turtle in this movie,
yeah.
Pokey.
Well, there's many more. There's many more turtles.
Yeah.
And they attach them to little turtle parachutes. And they fling them up into the air, and then all the turtles slowly fall down onto these evil assholes and just start snapping.
Yeah, they're turtle paratroopers.
Yeah, exactly, little paratroopers.
One of my favorite little moments is right before, I think they show him the snapping turtles, and he's like, "Oh, Pokey," or whatever. And then it shows the whole big thing of turtles, and just kind of up close, and it's just a little 2-second scene, but you hear they have a little voice, and it's like, "I'm scared, Sarge. We're all scared, Sarge."
That's right. We're all scared, Sarge.
We're all scared, Sarge.
Oh God. It's so good.
So good. And Ernest describes this as death from above. Aptly describes it as death from above.
Yes. Can we talk though about turtles. How Crater just tries to literally murder Ernest in front of everyone?
Yeah, they blow up his construction site with a big toilet bomb.
Yeah, as one does.
And then Crater arrives with a rifle. We have a couple instances of attempted murder here.
Just in front of all the kids, just in front of everybody.
In front of everybody, yeah. We should also say that Ernest kicks Bronk's ass.
Oh, yeah.
After the golf cart, which they load up with explosives, comes full circle back in the finale and allows them to blow up the big bulldozer that they're going to use to tear down the camp.
It's all coming around.
Yeah.
It all comes together beautifully.
But yeah, Crater tries to murder him. Yes.
Yeah, and Ernest harnesses not the power of the Native Americans, but he's a
true warrior. He has a warrior spirit.
Warrior, and therefore he cannot be touched by these bullets.
Now, do you think this has something to do with him being impervious to taking damage? As we talked about, him almost being a cartoon character.
Exactly. I mean, really, it is. It's like a Bugs Bunny situation.
Yes. It is, yeah.
It's very Bugs. Very Bugs.
Very Bugs.
So of course, you know, the good wins over evil in the end.
Yep.
Of course.
The camp is saved. They're now going to be a year-long camp.
Yep.
And he's a
Everyone's
counselor.
happy.
He's a full-fledged counselor now.
Yep. It's great. It's a romp, is what it is.
It's very mid-'80s family movie. It's typical fare, but it really holds a special place in my heart, certainly.
And some of the lines, some of the bits are just so fucking good.
Yes, I still laugh at so much.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we talked about how Ernest came to be. We've talked about the movie. Oh, so what happened? This was just the beginning for Ernest. This was 1987.
This was the beginning for Ernest, and this movie was actually a big hit. It earned worldwide. It earned $23.5 million on a budget of just $3.5 million. So big success. In 1988, the year after this, there was a Saturday morning show called Hey Vern, It's Ernest that just ran for one season. That we will certainly do a show on at some point because there's like 13 episodes of it and it's amazing and wonderful and it's incredibly creative and really funny.
I have not. I mean, I've obviously seen that, but it's been a very long time.
It ran for one season in 1988, but in the early 90s, you probably saw it when it used to rerun on the Family Channel.
Yep, I believe I did. Is that what ABC Family was before?
Yes.
It was ABC Family? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
That's what I thought. What came next for Ernest? Just a brief,
Yeah, there's a lot more to Ernest, and we're not going to get too into it because, honestly, we're going to do some of these movies as entire episodes.
Yeah.
So you had 5 theatrical releases total. So Ernest Goes to Camp is the first one. You then get Ernest Saves Christmas in 1988. You get Ernest Goes to Jail in 1990, Ernest Scared Stupid in 1991.
I'm sure that will be a Halloween movie club at some point
in the future. It's guaranteed to happen.
Yeah.
And Ernest Rides Again in 1993. And then you get 4 direct-to-video movies after that. Ernest Goes to School in 1994, Slam Dunk Ernest in 1995, Ernest Goes to Africa, which I'm sure is not at all problematic in any way, in 1997, and Ernest in the Army in 1998.
Yeah, I'm sure that plays just fine nowadays.
And Jim Varney, unfortunately, passed away not long after that, I believe in 2000.
Really? Has it been that long?
It has, yeah. But we're gonna do more Ernest for sure.
We are. Sure. Why, Justin? Why do you feel like Ernest is so special to us?
I honestly think it has to do with the parts of the country that we grew up in, both Florida and Tennessee, and I think that it was just the kind of character that it was like at a certain time in a certain area that character really clicked and made sense, and and I don't know. I think we were the right age for it. Like, we were the right age. Because, I mean, the comedy is so juvenile.
It is very juvenile.
But, I mean, we were juveniles, so it was perfect, you know?
We were. I will say our parents both also loved Ernest.
Yes.
Our dad particularly. Our dad kind of looked a bit like Ernest. I mean, he didn't dress like Ernest. He looked like Jim Varney.
He looked a little like Jim Varney, yeah.
Yeah, he and Jim Varney looked a bit alike. But I feel like our dad's humor was very earnest. It was very.
He kind of had janitor energy too, a little.
Our dad did have janitor energy. That's exactly right. But I mean, our mom loved Ernest too. So I do feel like it was one of those things where it was something that we enjoyed, kind of like Pee-wee. When we talked about that like all 4 of us, mom, dad, and the 2 of us could watch together. We all found it funny. We all enjoyed it. Ernest was definitely one of those things.
Yeah.
And I think, just kind of like
a pillar for me.
Exactly. There's a lot of, you got a lot of stuff holding up your life here.
Yeah, I do. And I gotta keep
you
talking
gotta keep
about him or the whole thing's gonna crumble.
Crumble down on you. Well, as we end our first of, I'm sure, many Ernest Talks.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to plug here at the? You've just had a return of your your first podcast.
Yeah, Blue Bard Cage, and that is spelled. I'll spell it out: BlueBarred. Blue Bard Cage is a wrestling podcast that I do that I did for many years, and we've just kind of come back with a new episode. Currently, we are discussing AEW on the Road to Forbidden Door. So we talked about Fallout from Double or Nothing and what happened on the shows this week. You can get that at Blue Bard Cage on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. There is video versions and audio versions.
You guys have video versions now?
We do have video versions now.
What?
You can get it on Facebook. Just search Blue Bard Cage. We're going to have another episode next weekend. And then we're going to get, once we get past Forbidden Door, we're going to dive into some more retro content, if that's more your thing. So
cool.
Check it out. It's a lot of fun, and I love talking wrestling. So
all right. Anything else that if you've listened to this episode of Cool Kids Club, so let's say this is your first episode, you're in luck, because we have 31 other episodes of Cool Kids Club podcast that you can listen to in the archives. We've been doing this for a little over a year, so plenty of episodes for you guys to go back and listen to. You can find them in all your normal places: Spotify, Apple, anywhere that you would normally get your podcasts. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at Cool Kids Club Pod, or if you search for us on Facebook, just search for Cool Kids Club Podcast. I am personally on Instagram and Twitter at Amy Reads TN, and my name is spelled AIMEE. Justin, where can you and all of your musings be found?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lousy with Ghosts. I also want to shout out Brian Wakefield, BrianWakefieldMusic.com, as always, for our banger of a theme song. And as I am saying this, I'm realizing that we forgot to do something.
What did we?
We didn't induct
Miss Katie.
Properly induct. Katie will not have it.
Because Katie will be very upset if we don't do this.
So before we berate people into staying cool, let's do this real quick.
Okay.
You're going to have to plug in some fanfare when I say the word fanfare. Mm-hmm. So, I hereby, on the day of the 5th of June, on the year of our Lord 2022,
this is very
induct into the Cool Kids Movie Club Hall of Fame 1987's Ernest Goes to Camp. Okay, there you go. That's it.
There you go. I mean, it's official now. There's no undoing it.
No, I don't make the rules.
No, it's there now. I don't know what y'all want me to do.
I think you should probably just stay cool.
I think you should just stay cool. Until next time, guys, stay cool.
Stay cool.
Just fucking do it. I know it's hard out there, but if you could just stay cool for us, that'd be great.
Imagine me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight. So happy together. If I should call you up, invest a dime, and you say you belong to me, release my mind. Imagine how the world could be so very fine, so happy together.